they took us down to the railroad station, and they put us in the cattle wagons. And
first to the shul. Everybody was gathered, all of the people, the Jewish people, and that's how they took us to the train station.
They took us to the brick factory there, and we did that brick factory. We were sleeping on the floors. There was no, not even the way we had in the concentration camp. We had already those bunker beds,
right.
But there we had to sleep on the ground.
And that you were all together as a family.
Yeah, we were all together there for 6 weeks. They took us after 6 weeks. They took us to Auschwitz.
To Auschwitz, yes. But they didn't tell us nothing, and I don't even remember very well how it happened.
We took some clothing with us.
Yeah, you remember maybe better than I do.
And they again put us in cattle cars.
You were standing up, the cattle, everybody was standing
up. Yeah, we were about, right, we were standing. There wasn't even much room to sit. That's how they packed us in, and we were traveling for a few days though, because I remember there was, those cattle cars had those little windows.
Right.
And we looked through, and we seen that all of a sudden we are in Auschwitz, and we did everything inside in that train. There wasn't a latrine, nothing.
So you went to the bathroom.
So
they didn't give you hardly anything to eat.
No. I remember my mother made cookies, and I put them in the pockets, and I was offering them when we came already to Auschwitz-Birkenau, and they separated us. We remained with my mother and my father with the 2 boys, and the 2 girls with my mother, and they were directing us from one side to the other side, and they undressed us, they cut our hair. It was very, very frightening. And we were sleeping in the barracks, 13 people on the wood plank, no covers, nothing whatsoever. If one turned, everybody had to turn. That was 13 people on one line.
When we arrived to Auschwitz, we came, they sent us left, right.
They said it in German?
Yeah, the SS, you go left, you go right.
Mangeles.
Yes.
I didn't see their Mangala.
Yeah, so anyway, I want to hear from
So what they did, and I got separated from her and my mother. From my mother and Irene, I got separated. And when the way we met each other, it was when we came. They took us to clean up, and they gave us. We took showers, everything. They changed our clothes, whether it fit or not. They gave, just take it. So and then after we got cleaned up, and they took us to Zellhager. I had no idea where Irene is and my mother. She ended up in the Zellhager, but she ended up in a barrack which was 22, number 22. And I was about, I think, in 18. So once we were standing in Appel, and we met each other, and we realized that we are all there.
Right.
A week or two, right? Was another a selection, and they were picking out. And they picked me out. They picked quite a number of them, but they said, you go inside in the barrack. To her, they said, you go in. And me, they said, you go left. And there was a chain with people. And they said, you go in there. In the middle of the, there was so they said, I should go in there. And she was going inside. And what she said to the officer, you go, she said to the officer, I want to be with my sister. All right, get out there too. So she followed me. And by the time it was a little bit quiet, so she breaks the chain, picks me by the hand, and pulls me out, and runs in the front. And then a few other girls from our hometown, the most of them from our hometown, were running after us. And this is how she saved me.
Mengele was choosing, and
so this is what happened.
The people he didn't want to send away to work, he was sending in that round, which inside were all the young girls which were supposed to go to the gas chamber. And when I was chosen between going to work. So when it happened and I was cutting the line, I cut the line and then everybody dispersed. And then we had to go back to the barracks in order to go with the rest of the girls wherever they're going to send us to work. We didn't know where or what, and that's how I saved her, and I saved many other kids.
Did you have hope that you were going to survive the war?
We didn't think about that.
That never even came in our mind. I mean, we were just, we wanted to live, that's all, nothing else. Until I didn't get liberated, I didn't even know that my parents were burned.
So you had no idea what happened?
No,
I had no idea.
It was so secretive. No one told us with one word what they did to our parents.
Even while I was there in the camp in Auschwitz, I had no idea that the barbed wires are
electrifying.
I had no idea. And once I was going very close, and also one of those Germans said to me, "Get away because you're going to get killed right away." And then I realized that it's electric in it. I had no idea.
When you were in Auschwitz, did you smell anything?
No.
Really?
The chimneys were going out with a lot of smoke. We didn't have any idea whatsoever. That's how naive and not informed we were.
Didn't know what to do with us. They
were bombing.
If you heard about that noise that there was a ship which was waiting, they said they're going to put us on a ship.
And drown us.
And that this is what they're going to do. We were starting climbing in. On the ship. And all of a sudden they started to bring us out from the ship. When they brought us up again, they took us down to the
They wanted us to go back into the train.
Into the train.
And I was screaming, don't go, don't go. And one German, he was a Wehrmacht, he says...
very small German.
He hardly, not taller than I was, and he was screaming, Irene.
Irene, du hast den größten Mund.
I have the biggest mouth.
Irene, that you have the biggest mouth.
When you screamed in Yiddish or German?
And I don't remember. Well, if it was Yiddish, it's very similar to German. I was screaming, don't go, don't go, don't go. I was screaming.
And he said, I never can forget. Irene, du hast den größten Mund.
He addressed her by name?
Yes.
I don't know from where he knew my name. I never knew. They know.
And they used to call me the decliner with the grosse Augen.
Wow.
Because I had big eyes.
Yeah, you still do.
And I was little, and this is how they used to call me, decliner with the grosse Augen. And that ship what sank afterwards, and when we got there liberated, because one thing wasn't far from the other, and what we seen the dead people floating
in the sea.
And we were supposed to be on that ship.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And by that, I personally believe also that from the German, I mean the one who was our Lagerführer, he made sure that we're not going to go on that ship. So he was the one really who saved
us.
I mean, so go figure that out. The train got bombed while we were traveling, and we started running out of the train. And that happened in a forest. And after that, we started wandering around there, and there were some Germans. I mean that we were standing near a gate, and they were bringing out us some food. I mean, giving us some food, and they said, "Don't you dare go back to the train, because there is already Waffenstillstand. It's already Armistice. What you call
Armistice Day.
Armistice Day, and this is how we got liberated, really, in that forest.
I remember when I was on the train going back to home, and we first went to Budapest, and somebody in the train, there were a lot of people, and they come over to me and they say, "Your brother is alive." And I was so happy. Then we found out already our true happenings, that our parents were gassed up and everything. So it was very, very upsetting, unbelievably. But we are here, so we have to do our very best, whatever we could, and to see who is alive and who isn't.
What happened with you after the war? Because you got a little separated, didn't you? Mommy went back home and you went...
Mommy went back home, and I stayed
in Budapest. But that wasn't right away, and I went to visit my brother also to Prague, because I found out that he is in a sanitarium. He had tuberculosis, and
I have a picture of him.
Yeah, let's see. What was his name?
Joseph.
How old was he?
He could be 22 or something, but sadly to say, in 47 he passed away.
What he was doing in Auschwitz, which I know, he told me himself. He was, the ashes from the people. He was scattering them in Auschwitz on the fields. Oh. That was his job. I mean, we really wanted to go to Israel. But we didn't want to go anymore. They wanted to take us illegally to Israel, but we said we had enough of, to be again captured or whatever. So we didn't want to go illegally. So and then finally they opened up the Czech quota, and this is how we ended. I mean, to come to America, and this is how we ended up to come here.
What would you want to say to your grandchildren as a message?
As a message, well, that they should remember one thing. I mean, if they know the story what I went through, they should remember that if something like this should never happen to us Jews again, we should think about to support our country, Israel. Would we have had an Israel, this would have never happened to us.
We went through a very, very unfortunate part of history which was never done before, and we cannot forget that. And we have to cherish our past because we are a Jewish nation which finally got a country, Israel, and we have to be very loyal and dear to it. And I hope our grandchildren and our future generations will bear that in their mind, and they'll know about our history because we went through a lot of hardship, but our Jewishness is so important and our country is so important that we have to be very loyal to it, and we hope that history won't repeat itself.
But they should never forget the history from the Jewish people, why Israel is here. Israel also started only because of the Holocaust. This is when it was created in 1948. And had a lot to do because would we have had that country, this would have never happened to us. So and that's it.